Better from a big bottle.
Some of it on the ice cream.
Would you like to get faster?
No.
And the guy in the back. The guy in the back.
Thank you so much.
You?
L'chaim, l'chaim.
I'm grach.
Gemara says in the beginning, it's in the Daf Yud Ches and Rosh Hashanah. Gemara talks about Megillah's Tainus. There was a Megillah with all these Yom Tovim that you had Lol Mispid, Lol Sanas behind. There was special Yom Tovim, and the Gemara says that there's an expression. Kamaisa betuliv v'achnaina meisifin, that we were mevatel, we paskin that the Zman Hazeh you don't have to keep all the things in Megillah's Tainus. So now you're going to be moisef Yom Tovim. There's a beautiful long tshuva from the Chassam Sofer in Neurachaim Samach Gimel. And in the tshuva he says that even though in the Gemara it sounds like you don't moisef Yom Tovim, so how come we moisef Hayom Tov here? Yud Beis, Yud Gimel, Tamuz. So he says because when the Yidden, when there was a Churban, they said, how could we celebrate the day? All these miracles in Megillah's Tainus are connected to the Beis Hamikdash. So how can we celebrate when these days are not a Yom Tov, it's a Eivel? And now we're in great pain that These are days that where we saw Moifsim, Oisus and Moifsim is Galus Alakus the Eibishter, and now he's saying it's not a Yom Tov for us, it's an Eivel, so we don't keep the days of Megillus Tainus. And that's what the Gemara says, that Kamaisa Bituli, Achraina Moisif, and you can be Moisif, how can you be Moisif? But Yoisem it's Evim Lemeas Velagaltim that you have the Bismana Golos, the Eibishter makes a nest for the Eden. Avada da Famachan a Groise Yom Tov. That's the Maskon of the Chasam Sofer. And that goes well with, to explain the Chassidus, that sometimes, in the time of the Churban, Dafkim, Beis HaMikdash, in the Mokem HaMikdash, in Eretz Yisrael, the Ramban says, Kol HaMekudesh Mechaveri, Chorev Mechaveri, Dafkim Eretz Yisrael, sometimes you don't see so much a Gila Lakus, and Chutz Lor, it's Treft Zachanes, that you see an unbelievable Gila Lakus. Alter Rebbe says in Tanya that the Eibishter wanted to create the world, B'midas Adin, Rosh Einar L'Miskayim, Shitif in Midas Arachim, that means, is Galus Oisus and Moivsim Shabatoyra Val Yedei Tzadikim. The miracles that happened, that performed by Tzadikim, it's a Yesidas Arabana Shalom. I was telling Bencha that I had a Farbrengen Thursday. My father called me up. You have to come to Farbrengen. Okay? So we have Farbrengen until 3 o'clock in the morning. So my father makes every year Farbrengen on Chof Ches. In Tamuz, Youth Tamuz. Yeah, this was 50 years, Tov Shechovtes. They had an unbelievable miracle, Gilui Elakus. So they had all the people that were there in the fridge. So someone posted this year a picture. So what happened was they had an accident. There were 9 Bochum, they were going to a chasana, they had the Rishus from Dan Holland, Yeshiva. They went to a chasana. Actually, this fellow, who was the chassan himself, was there at the Farbrengen. He is finished as a younger man. 50 years ago was his chasana. He goes to see my father's shochem. And the way back, they had an unbelievable accident. And the police said there was a pellet to them that they came out alive. As I said, someone had a picture they posted. You see, as a kid, every year my father made it. Every year, I'm hearing this story. As many years as I am in this world, I hear this story every year. But Dafka this year, I heard a few more pratim from people that were there that I didn't know before. It's remarkable. The Rebbe on his desk, there was a kuntres that they used to, everything that was published, especially the sikhs of the Rebbe, they came to the Rebbe would look it over, and there was always corrections, and then the Rebbe would give it to them to publish. There was something on the Rebbe's desk, it was weeks, and the Rebbe didn't touch it. And it was late at night, and the Rebbe called Rabbi Chadakov to come into his office. He gave him the kuntres, and he said that he wants that they should publish it with 5 letters. 2 of the Alter Rebbe, 1 of the Mittel Rebbe, 2 of the Tzemach Tzedek. And these letters, the Teuchen of all of them is that there's a Maimer Oilam, the Nochas Reifa Vert Menach, that after a fire you become rich. What's the pshat? Nochas Reifa Vert Menach. What's the pshat? After a fire you become rich. Even though it's Maimer Oilam, but the Alter Rebbe said that really it's Yusadosa B'Harei Kodesh, it's true. So what does that mean? Unbelievable beer from the Alter Rebbe, and another beer, and a beer from the Tzemach Tzedek, and a beer from the Mittel Rebbe. Huh? I don't know. You have to define what riches is. You have to know what riches is. But the Rebbe said that they should publish it immediately. What happened was that night, there was a chasna. They went, and as they were coming back to New York, close to New Rochelle, they thought they were going for a highway. The kids said they crashed into a tractor trailer. The car went spinning. The car was on fire, and luckily no one had a seatbelt on. They all were able to get out. Some of them were burned for the rest of their life. There's a shliach that he walks around with his hair is a little long. So he was one of the survivors. He was 2 weeks before his chasana, and he was in the hospital. So they were going to mevatel. The Rebbe said no way, they should continue. They should have the chasana. Went from the hospital, he went to his chasana. He had this behind his neck neba. The Rebbe said to his father, the Rebbe couldn't take it, that he came in and he looked so. The Rebbe said he should grow long hair, but he said that those days, can you imagine Chavtes, the 60s. He said, my son he's not going to want to grow his hair long. So the Rebbe said, Olaiva al Savorei. It's a pun. It's a pun in words. That this long hair will be on my neck. It's also an expression of responsibility. And it's like the Rebbe was like one of the Talmidim that came back and was bandaged up, and it was so he said that when he came to Ben Shagoimel, and the Rebbe was like looked at him, the Rebbe was like shaking, and the Rebbe like looked away. Ad kedei kach, the Rebbe felt the closeness. So what happened was that most of them were taken to the hospital. Some of them were burning, and they had unbelievable wounds, third-degree burns. But some of them weren't injured that much, and they were released immediately. So one of them got to 771st, 770. He went to Rabbi Chadakov immediately to tell him what happened. Rabbi Chadakov said, "If you promise you're not touching anything in my office, I'll let you sit here for a few minutes." He went to the Rebbe's room, came back pale. He said he'd never seen such a gilu of Ruach HaKodesh. The Rebbe told him that he getracht von sein Nachten bei Nacht. The Rebbe told him that he was thinking about these Talmidim last night. In other words, when the accident happened. The Rebbe told him that this kunter that he told him last night, at the beginning of the night to publish, that he should give in his name one copy to each one of these Talmidim. So this was 50 years. This happened a couple of days ago. So Thursday night, my father makes a Farbrengen, as I said, every single year. And those that are not there, there's a shliach. So they Machaya today is they're on the telephone. They're in the Farbrengen. One of the shluchim that was in Montreal, he's Mayor Minkowitz. His brother's Lenny Minkowitz. So he said that remarkable story that he had Nebuch third-degree burns someplace in his hand. He's ad kedei kach, he could see the bone. He could see the bone in his hand. Very painful. The doctor said that, especially where his elbow, that there's nothing to. The only way if they take a graft and they have to do surgery to get it. So he was at that time he was had yichidus with his family. Yidua, the Rebbe used to take a note. The Rebbe very quick used to read it, and the Rebbe used to look down. He used to talk while he's reading it. And when he got to this point, the doctor said that he has to have surgery and they have to do a graft. So the Rebbe said, went like this. Was wissen Doktoren von einer solchen Sache? Why do doctors know about such things? He said, Kachave, he never went back to the doctors. He never went for any surgery or nothing. He Baruch Hashem and healed in a miraculous way. This 50 years ago. He said from 50 years ago till today, Baruch Hashem, there was no problem with his hand. The only thing is that he has a little bit of a scar to remind him about the Ness. So those are Tachsam Sofer that when there is a Isgalus of the Eibishter reveals himself to us, that even though the Yidden are doch in Golus, and the Eibishter gives us a tzaddik, as Pashtus of the Moshe B'Chol V'Dora, that shows us mamish. We see a lakus, we see Eibishter, we see a nest. What's the point of the nest? We see the Eibishter. So Eibishter developed. So the Mela becomes a Yom Tov. The Mela it's a Yom Tov. So that's the Yom Tov Yud Beis Tamuz. The Yom Tov Yud Beis Tamuz is because it was a nest like this. Is nothing. Is galus lakus. Mela we celebrate. So like. L'chaim, we get to Kastrama in a minute. We didn't get to Kastrama yet. First we have to make L'chaim to get on the train to get to Kastrama. So, otherwise you can't get on the train. L'chaim, L'chaim. Baruch Hashem that we see today, we see unbelievable His Galus Alakus, Al Yedei Oisis Amoifsim. So, Mela, this is a gewaldige Yom Tov. We feel the closeness to the Ribbon Shalom. L'chaim, l'chaim. Anim zmirois v'shirim Hayana Meshich Obameda B'Tzel Yodecha Haladas Oras Eidecha Hayanim Zbiroi B'Shirim Erai Kilecha Nafshi Saroi Nafshicha Medav B'Tzel Yodecha Ladas Kol Ros Oidem Namo Hayana V'Shicha Medav B'Tzel Yodecha Ladas Kol Ros Oidecha Dakecha Lekeinu Naricha Becha Ladai Ladai B'Meitzi Losecha Dakecha Lekeinu Le'aricha Becha Ladai Ladai B'Meitzi Losecha Le'manecha Lekeinu Asei Ve'layelanu Re'ei Amido Seveinu Dalim Berekim Dakecha Lekeinu Le'aricha Becha Ladai Ve'ladai B'Meitzi Losecha Le'manecha Lekeinu Asei Ve'layelanu Re'ei Amido Seveinu Dalim Berekim L'chaim L'chaim The Rebbe once said in Farbrengen, I think it's Tov Shechavov, that there's two ways of looking at every nest. An alta Zachs that getroffen happened many years ago, like the Baal Shem Tov said, Niskorim Ben Asim, that's happening now. How do we know if it's happened a long time ago, if it's happening now? The Rebbe is talking about Farbrengen Yud Beis Tamuz. The Rebbe said that if to look at a Yid at the day before Yud Beis Tamuz, after Yud Beis Tamuz, before the Farbrengen, after the Farbrengen, if you see the same Yid, Zaraya, that this nest happened many years ago. It happened the days of the Yavonim. It happened the days of Antiochus. It happened a long time ago. The nest of Pesgishan along its sides. But if you see the Yid Kumetz Farbrengen and Gezak L'chaim, B'Sheves Achim Gam Yochad, and the day after the Farbrengen, it's a different person. The Avodas Hashem is an under Avodah. So then we say, and we say that, so we know that it's not an altar nest, it's a nest that's happening now. That's easier said than done. Now, Moldach Nosas Orchim, they say that people, you said, the Yiddelach travel. How many Orchim do you have? You have so much in your house. I mean, Shabbos Hashem, Orchim, sleeping Orchim. But today, they say that the big mitzvah Nosas Orchim you can do in your car. Well, you see an Altaid, or you see people waiting, you give them a ride. They come into your house, come into your car, so you have the mitzvah Nosas Orchim. So, my father's been going on Wednesday night. He goes with they sit together some 70 one place next to me. Talking about Tov Shem Lamed Zayin. They're going on Mitzvah for over 40 years. Every Wednesday night they put mezuzahs. Wow, Chassidish Yid, Motel Chaim. He's a printer. He has his Empire Press. So he sees me after Mincha, and he's already not a young man. So he says, "Can you give me a ride?" I said, "No problem." So I said, "Wait here, and I'll bring my car around." So I bring the car around. But as you know, I don't drive in a little go-kart. So it was a little hard. I felt really bad. I said, "I'll help." No, I'll go himself. I said, "Der Mottel ist schwer zu aufkriegen." So he said, "Don't worry." So finally he climbs onto the truck. So he says, "Es Tage schwer zu aufkriegen." Aber einmal man kriegt darauf, sofort. You know, there's the truck, because, you know, it's hard to climb onto your truck, he says. But once you get on your truck, sofort. So I said, it was really good taking them model to this printing shop. So takazoi, you know, sometimes it's hard to climb on. That's why we make ochayim, it's sazam and shavasachim, because the laziness that I have and you have is not so far apart. Maybe the details of what we have to do are a little different, but the laziness is all bazach. So it's a bisschen schwer zu ruf kriegen. But then when we kriegt a ruf, however you get up there, amol alachayim, anigin, sit together, when we kriegt a ruf, so geht gefort. Taka is a gefort. So that's the koyach of Beis Tamuz. The Rebbe says it was taka pella. That on the one hand, here it was hepech hachayim. His life was pushed in danger, and begashmius, he later suffered because. And then here, such a short time later, they not only there was a geula, but they were terrified because they didn't give him the exact documents that he has to be free on Beis Tamuz because the office was closed, and they begged him to come next day to sign that he got the shichrut. But you see this thing in a short time how a yid could be min hametzer al hamerchov, and it could be miraculous. And the Friedrich Rebbe was mamshech to Klal Yisrael, zok the Rebbe. And then the Rebbe said an unbelievable story, which is, we spoke about this in the Farbrengen, that we had Gimel Tamuz at the oil, and I want to continue this Farbrengen. Here's Gimel Tamuz, Aschalta the Geula, and Beis Tamuz is continuing that Geula. And we all, and you Gimel, right? Atazoi. So the Rebbe said then that the Gemara says, the one pasuk says that Shimshon was shayfa, this is Esim Shana. The other pasuk says Arbon Shana. So was he a shayfa 20 years or 40 years? Which one? The Gemara says that the Plishtim were terrified from Shimshon. 20 years after his death, they were still terrified. And they didn't want to touch a Jew because they were scared of Shimshon. So therefore it was as if he was alive for 20 years. So the Rebbe said that by a tzaddik, like my father-in-law, it doesn't matter if it was a year or 20 years after his petira, after his elula, the chassidim and the yidden that are connected to him, and Chal Yidden are connected, because Moshe Rabbeinu in every generation shaychus to every yid, is through that connection, he's alive. He's alive. You see today that Yidden are going to the oil, and there's remarkable things that are happening, unbelievable things. Hafli v'afela mamish. Hafli v'afela mamish. There was a shliach that said that it's a mamish fresh story. That there was a shliach that he said there was a balabas that gave him an unbelievable pledge. Okay, so he reminded the balabas of the pledge. Leich v'shuva. How many times could you ask the same? So he stopped. He gave up. So he gets a call from this balabas one day. You must come. It's emergency. He said he was sitting in his dining room. He had a beautiful picture that had been, all of a sudden the picture fell down and the whole frame broke and the glass smashed. And he felt terrible. He said there must be something. So he grabbed the Igris Kodesh and he opened it up to see if this one else can. And he opens up. You see the letter from the Rebbe to Sayyid. He says, "You made a pledge for tzedakah. And I'm waiting a long time. You should give the pledge. You should give the pledge immediately."
He gave double.
Another story. There was a shliach. This story, a beautiful story. I heard from Reb Zalman Baumgarten that there was a boch here on Ocean Parkway. This is Tavshin and Gimel. They had a seder back then. Now also Madaf Tamid Derusa Sheyidin. So there's still this unbelievable opportunity, even though they came here 15, 20 years ago, but it's different than those that are entrenched, that they're here already 100 years in the United States. It's easier to get to the neshama. This is something special about Usa Shayid. You can get to them. It's not loy nefleis and loy rechoike. You just have to work on it. So they made a. I'm just saying it agav orcha, because you don't know, down the block you have or somewhere around the block, and somebody working with a yid, and remember we have we have here a yid, Shmuel Fegel, right? He was sweet. We all loved it. Shmuel Fegel should have a lichtige Gan Eden, and his wife should be gezun. Sima and his daughter is Machlek Shidduch. But he came to Williamsburg, and they were surprised. He was talking Yiddish. He got a little job for $10 an hour, but the guys, they couldn't believe it. Shmuel Fegel, a Russian. They think a Russian. Yidden said, my Bob always says that she works with Russian Jews. She works in this organization called Free. They say in Russia we were called the Jeep. In America we became Russians. So they were surprised, and he was talking Yiddish. Festa Yiddish, he was talking Jewish Yiddish, and they warmed up to him. He became from a Yiddish a short time. Anyway, I'm just telling you that the bottom line is you have to look out for Yiddelach. There's around the Yiddelach around where you work, where you are. It doesn't take much. And the Chazal say that when you help another Yid, then your neshama lights up 1,000 koch. 1,000. The Alter Rebbe says it's not a guzma, it's literal. And the Rebbe Marash is Moisev that Chazal say that 100,000 people go in to learn. Echad yoytze lahira. One person. What's me echad yoytze lahira? This one yid that teaches another yid, that's the echad, that's yoytze lahira. Anyway, I just want to tell you a beautiful story I heard from Chazan Zalman Baumgar. So Toshin Gimel, there was on Ocean Parkway, there was a couple of Balabatim that got together and they made a Seder for Russian Jews. So they got a Lubavitcher boy who could speak Russian to run the Seder, 250 people, a big Olam, and these people don't speak English. So they got a Bocher who could speak Russian, he should run the Seder. That time was after the stroke. The Rebbe wanted to give matzah to those that are running a public Seder. So those that making a public Seder were told to walk past the Rebbe. There was a table, there was matzah. The Rebbe, with his hand, pushed the matzah. You pushed the matzah and you picked up the matzah. So this bocher came to get the matzah. He's running a Seder, 250 people. So he came to get matzah, and the Rebbe goes like this. So he thought the Rebbe's asking, who are you? You're a kid. You're running a Seder? He says, yeah, on Ocean Park, I'm running, 250 people are coming. I give the address. One the second time. He's getting frightened. He doesn't know. He's scared. He says again. Third time that Rebbe goes like this. See, he doesn't know what to do. And the Rebbe goes, it's like this, and the Rebbe pushes over the matzah. Okay. He was nervous. What happened? Sits it. Right before the Seder, the organizers come running to him, and they say, here we have matzah from the Lubavitcher Rebbe. He says, he says, what are you talking about? When they opened the line, we were the first people to walk past the Rebbe to get the matzah because we're organizing a Seder here. So when he came after them, the Rebbe didn't ask, where are you going for the Seder? The Rebbe didn't ask anything. People walked. The Rebbe was going like this, the matzah. One after the other, after the other, after the other. And when this guy came, the Rebbe knew that, what do you mean? I already gave matzah for you. You're Seder. The Rebbe was like, when are you coming? I gave matzah 15 minutes ago. I gave matzah. So he said, I'm making Ocean Park. I said, I gave already. The third time, that I was like, okay, fine. I'll give you a second matzah.
Wow. This was what, 92?
93.
93.
There was recently a shliach, mamish, that's the porteg, a shliach that said a story, he's building a mikveh. So he had the goy that was taking care of the place, and he told them that there'll be two rabbis coming, open the door for them because they're inspecting the mikveh. So today you have mikveh buildings. You have your light. They go all over the United States, all over the world. Mumchim and mikvahs. They go. So he had two light. They're coming to look at the mikveh to make sure that the construction is going good. being built right. So later he called the guy. When he was there, he said to the guy, he said, he said there were 3 rabbis here. He said, no, 2 rabbis. He said, no, I'm telling you, there were 3 rabbis here. So he said, what are the 3? So he describes the first, the second, the third guy. You see the picture? It was the guy from the picture. There was a picture on the wall there from the Rebbe. So he said, no, it couldn't be this. He said, I'm telling you, that was the 3rd guy that came. So you have like this week's Parsha, I was thinking Balak, exactly. Who saw the Malach? Balak or the donkey?
Donkey.
Huh?
Donkey.
Why can't Bilam? Sorry, why can't Bilam see the Malach? Huh? I'll say this. Yeah. How many brachas did you get?
I got 1.
Yeah. Very good. Well, it doesn't matter how many. If you had the schus, you have a bracha, so you have the bracha, and now you go to the oil, you get another bracha. Because really, just like the just like the story of Shimshon, that there's no question that there's Mailam B'Kodesh, and we see today people that are going to Mispalo, and definitely that the Rebbe is not being told where to sit, and Gan Eden, if the Rebbe wants to be Poel Yeshua's Bekerev Oretz, it's Poel Yeshua's Bekerev Oretz, just like all the years that we saw the unbelievable concern that Rebbe had for Klal Yisrael. There's no question that the same is now. And this Farbrengen is a connection from Gimel Tamuz. So L'chaim, that every one of us should experience, and not only a Gula Klolis and Klal Yisrael, but should start to a Gula Protis, Nar Avodas Hashem, Mazal Tak Aruf Krishel, Mazal Foren. We should climb onto the wagon and we should take it. We should travel in Avodas Hashem. L'chaim.
Can I say Nigo?
What's the story with the gun?
Huh?
I heard the story with the gun.
No, I didn't hear. No,
You said the famous.
no, I didn't hear. I can't wait to find out.
I didn't listen very well.
What does it mean, a geula? Geula means a person's in jail. He goes out of jail. He's stuck in one place. And then not to be stuck in one place. And Avodas Hashem, to be stuck in one place is the worst thing. A beautiful sikha what the Rebbe says is 3 points here. Why a Yid always has to have a geula? Why a Yid that travel? It's hard to climb onto the wagon. But once you're on the wagon, support. But why you have to fall? Well, you can be stagnant. Why do you always have to go? Why do you always have to be moving in Avodas Hashem? Three reasons. Number one, there's a concept of Baal Shem Tov says, Tainuk Tmidi Einei Tainuk. There's no such a thing as a constant pleasure. You can't, anything that's constant is not pleasurable. There always has to be dynamic. You have to change. Sometimes, a person has to change your routine. You have to have vacation. It's good for your health. Shake it up. Have a little something different. So you have to, Tainuk Tmidi Einei Tainuk. So if you're serving Hashem like a robot, every day is the same thing. It can't be that you're having a tainuk in your avodas Hashem. Number two, the Alter Rebbe says, Perik Tezvav and Tanya, avodah lo avodah. To do whatever is easy, that it's a routine. That's not called serving Hashem. It's lo avodah. It's him who serves him not. When you do something a little different than your routine, doesn't go into your regular schedule. That's called avodah. And number three is Ma'alim Kodesh. Yid always has to grow. Kedusha, Yid always has to grow. You can't stay. You can't stay in one place. My parents have a neighbor. He's a jeweler, Greenfield. Funny young man. He said that he has a mechanic. I told him a Maisa Pella with the Rebbe. His mechanic said that he has a cousin in Eretz Yisrael. They came to New York many years ago. They had Neva Chassan that was diagnosed with cancer, and it was treatment somewhere in the United States, and they were staying by him in Williamsburg. He said that if you're here, might as well go to the Rebbe to get a bracha. And he goes, he doesn't know what you do. You go to 770. You goes to the Rebbe's secretary. You can't just walk into the Rebbe's room. They told him, anyways, take a few months, maybe you can see the Rebbe. So they were really disappointed. When they walked out in the hallway, people said, you know what? The Bochum said to them, the Rebbe comes 3:15, walks out of the office, and walks into a small hallway to a small Beis Medrash Shadav Mincha. So you could wait there, and sometimes you can walk. The Rebbe used to put his hand in his pocket, he used to take out nickels, he used to give it to the kids, and put it into the pushka. So sometimes people would bend over and ask something by the Rebbe. They said you could wait there, and maybe if the Rebbe's there for a few minutes, you can bend over and ask something by the Rebbe. So the door opens, and the Rebbe comes out, and the Rebbe looks at them, and the Rebbe makes like this, Sigarnish, Fortaim. He didn't say a word. The Rebbe said, Sigarnish, there's nothing, go home. So they were like stunned. They didn't have a chance to say anything. Like, did Rebbe know what they're talking about? So they were here, they were standing there like the entire mincha went by and they're still standing there. After mincha, the Rebbe walks out. Ich hab euch gesagt, sie gar nicht, they can't get home. The Rebbe was like surprised that they're still there. I told you it's nothing, you can go home. Okay. We're not like Meir Minkowitz, so and the Rebbe said was based in the Torah that he never went back to the doctor 50 years had gone by. They went to the clinic where they were supposed to go, and they went through. Okay, so they brought the entire file from Israel, and they did the newest thing of testing. The medical team looked at the test. They said, "We don't know what's going on, but your child is a regular child. We see nothing. You can go home." So we see. This is the Indian of a Chag Geula. We see Oisus and Moisim. Like the Chassam Sofer says, that I forget the bigger simcha. We see the Afghan Golas that we see that the Eibishter makes moifsim that we should see him. And why does the Eibishter make these moifsim we should see him? To give us a koyach to do avodas Hashem, to do every new moifis is to give us another koyach to grow. That we shouldn't be stagnant in avodas Hashem. That avodas Hashem should be dynamic. Huh? A marshal, everyone, not a marshal, it's a nimshal. Not a marshal. This is not a marshal. The nimshal is that you have to know, and I have to know. Everyone knows the things that we have to tomorrow be a new person. L'chaim, l'chaim. Every one of us should have a geula, and we should have a geula protis, that we should go out of our shtein in one place. And like Klal Yisrael should have a Gula Klolis. No Tisha B'Av, yeah.
It's already gets pushed through.
Yes. Give you some more.
Yeah, I'll help you out here.
Sure. Where are you?
I like what you said. But you know what? It doesn't matter. Friede gibt es hier. Hij komt zu der Farbrengen. Staat bij Tamuz Farbrengen. L'chaim, l'chaim.
One more customer. Sorry.
All right, nice.
Put it next to me.
That's so stupid.
Oh, this was error.
L'chaim, l'chaim. No waste. No waste. Huh?
He wants some Rabbi.
L'chaim, l'chaim. We spoke Shabbos about the story with the Friedrich Rebbe. The Friedrich Rebbe was Shabbos. He said he was in prison, so the Mela he wasn't that busy. So he davened barichas gedoyla, unbelievable arichas. It was 1 or 2 hours after Chatzos Hayom, and his towels were still over his eyes. And they forgot to take a mugshot when they arrested him. So they sent over here a whole crew to take the picture. And this towels over his eyes said they had some pachad, like a yidus hakovet. They left. Came back an hour and a half later. He was still in the middle of davening. And when they came in with the camera, he didn't want to take a picture of Shabbos. He went like this. They walked away. Third time was already after davening. He said that he doesn't want to take a picture. Shabbos should come after Shabbos. The Kachab. Rebbe says, Aflav a fella. He was in jail to begin with because the Rebbe was a talis. What do they care about it? Rebbe was a talis. They were trying to eradicate Judaism. And all of a sudden he goes like this and they walk out the room. Killing people was nothing to them. So the Rebbe says that the Friedrich Rebbe gave a koyach to Klal Yisrael that when we have an Nisayan, there's bitla atzmi that comes from the toikef. That the toikef for atzmi comes from bitla atzmi. When a person has this tekifus that comes from the bitl that he goes to Nisayan. You have an Nisayan, you go like this. Your hand, go like this. There was a story that everyone said about the Rav. Recently, funny, I heard the name of the Rav, so it's like a fella, half of a fella. The Rebbe would never say a name. A very choshev Rav. He wrote famous svarim. Very choshev Rosh Hashiva and Rav, Talmud of Reb Chaim. And so he was in court once, and the judge asked him, "Is it true that you are?" I think it was in England. So he asked him, "Is it true that you are one of the most prominent rabbis in the United Kingdom?" So he said, "Correction, Your Honor. I am the most influential rabbi in the United Kingdom. So the judge said, "Rabbi, what's with humility?" So he said, "Your Honor, I'm under oath." He's under oath.
Oh God, it's so good. So good. So good. That's the Gemara.
So I heard recently that this story is taken, but they never told the story, so it must be a true story. But I heard who it was, Cheskel Abramsky. Very choshev personality. So there's another story about in the United States. It was a very, very choshev Ero, Blazer Silver, and they say stories about him similar to this, you know. But he was a very high-ranking officer in the U.S. Army. That's a chaplain. He went to Europe. He tried to get as many kids to get them out of monasteries. I mean, he was in the time of the war. He led the protests of 400 rabbis against the president of the United States of America. I mean, it was called Kulait for Klal Yisrael, and he was very close to Friedrich Rebbe. So he was building a mikveh in Cincinnati, and the property he bought was a block away from the headquarters of the Reform movement, and they were not very excited about this mikveh. So they mounted a case against him. It was a court case. He dafka hired a Goyish lawyer, and they had a good Mr. Goldberg. They had a good Yiddish lawyer. So the lawyer on the Reform side wanted to illustrate that this guy is like backwards person. So he started asking questions. Does he believe in evolution? No. Do you believe God created the world in 6 days? He said, absolutely yes. And do you believe that the ass spoke? So he said, I don't have to believe. I hear him speak right now. The kid said that was like the Ayid has to know.
That was it. You were the guest.
Ayid has to know that the Friedrich Rebbe said the story, not the Chdi. The Rebbe Friedrich Rebbe told us the story because that's the attitude we have to take. Just like Rav Abramsky, the attitude of Rabbi Lazer Silver, this attitude that the Friedrich Rebbe showed us that with the Nisoyin that we make with the hand. The story wasn't stam told. The story is that's the way we have to treat a Nisoyin. We have to treat a Nisoyin like this, and that gives us the koyach for geula, for a personal geula. L'chaim, l'chaim.
Rabbi, how long?
5 minutes. Oh, how long? Until it goes away.
5 years? Every day?
Once by Farbrengen, and the announced chief rabbi from what is the story of America, and he said, and Canada too.
Yeah, that's why we're Farbrengen.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
We waited too long.
Rabbi Groner, it's an unbelievable thing I heard from Rabbi. He said that he once had a shayla, a sicha. The Rebbe said he was wondering, he was in the Rebbe's office, should he bother the Rebbe about this? He had a kasha, a shayla lerner. But, I guess there's professional. It was his job to work with the Rebbe, but now he had a question, he had a sicha. The Rebbe turns to him and he said, look in Bereshis Rabbah, the second page, the third. The Rebbe gave him the answer to his question.
Before he even asked.
He didn't ask. He was thinking if he should ask.
He says many times I scared to go by Rabbi. What I'm thinking, the Rebbe answered me before I even asked him.
So l'choyre, the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, mi uzev ezehu, about Moshe Rabbeinu to say who am I, but the Rebbe says that Lepoil, whatever a tzaddik and the people of this generation are not a very separate thing. It's not a role model. It's not the pshat of role model. It's not a role model. Tzaddik and every yid, the avodah, we work together. We work together. Just like here in Beis Menachem Mendel. It's not separate. We work separately in Avodas Hashem. We work together. The same thing, the Rebbe's Avodas Hashem and our Avodas Hashem. The Rebbe learns Chitas every day. We learn Chitas. The Rebbe learns Rambam. We learn. It's not a separate thing. We're working together. The Rebbe's Avodas Hashem gives us a koyach. It's just that the Rebbe can't force. There's Bechira Chavshus. There's always a Bechira Chavshus. But the emes is that we work together. When we put our effort to work, we're working together. There's a concept, the beautiful concept. In Tanya, there is a thing that always, there's this concept thing in Tanya about trying to be real in Avodas Hashem, trying to be honest with yourself in Avodas Hashem. That if you have Avos Hashem, Yiras Hashem, it shouldn't be Dimyoinei Shav. Dimyoinei Shav means imaginations, empty imaginations. It shouldn't be Dimyoinei Shav. False imaginations. A person thinks that he has Avos Hashem, yes, Yiras Hashem. Hot air balloon. It's nothing. The Rebbe has a beautiful deal. What does it mean Dimyon Shov? What's this double? It's redundant. If it's a Dimyon, it's an imagination. Obviously it's Shov. Obviously it's empty. An empty imagination. If it's an imagination, it's imaginary. Every word in Tanya is doch bediuk otzum, right? The Alter Rebbe sometimes took 6 weeks to contemplate the right of Vav and not the right of Vav. So what's it's redundant. But the Rebbe is the Charaya that there's the Myonis, they're not. Sometimes our void is not so perfect. We're not the Gresta Lubavitch Chosin, right? But we try. You know, like they said that there was at Opinia Korf that Nebuch, he had the story. They bashed him up a little bit. He was teaching Tanya, and they were not so happy with it. So a couple of guys in Williamsburg bashed him up, and they did away with part of his beard. So anyway, they were caught by the cops. It was a court case. So they were asked. Those that gave him a couple of pets were asked, "Are you Orthodox Jews?" I said, "Sure, very Orthodox." And then they asked the Pinya Korf, "Are you a Hasidic Jew?" He says, "I try." Those that gave him the patch, they're very Orthodox Jew. He was trying. Anyway, there's the Myoina. Sometimes a person thinks he's Avodas Hashem, but there's the Myoina Shov. What is a double ocean? So the Rebbe, the story of the Alter Rebbe, my Sheva Brachas we had in Baruch Hashem 3 weeks ago. My son-in-law told a beautiful story. But this is a story that the Rebbe told. It was a story that the Rebbe said I didn't hear from my father-in-law, and I heard it from Chassidim, and I can't vouch for it for its authenticity. However, it's a Geshmak Amais, says the Rebbe, that they once came to the Alter Rebbe and they told him that his Chassidim are not so. That he might think that his Chassidim are unbelievable Oivdei Hashem, the way he describes it in Tanya, but he has a couple Chassidim that are make believe. The Alter Rebbe said, "Aha, by Bazois and Skaim Van Bazei the Psak from the Mishnah. They should suffer. They should the consequences that is written in the Mishnah. The Mishnah that says in the end of Peah that a person that makes believe because he's looking for sympathy, he makes Rachman al-Islan, he believes that he's oni, he's poor. He makes believe that he has a physical ailment, that he's so he won't die until he'll actually have that ailment. He makes believe to have it. He's going to have it. So these Chassidim, they're faking that they're Chassidim. So they're faking that they're Lubavitch Chassidim. But don't worry, they won't die before they become actual Lubavitch Chassidim. That's why we're here tonight. So we're going to fake it until we make it. That's it. We want Mashiach. We want Mashiach now. We want Mashiach. We want Mashiach now. We want Mashiach. We want Mashiach now. We want Mashiach. Mashiach now. Ani ma'amin b'emunah shelema b'yad Mashiach. Ani ma'amin. Ani ma'amin b'yad Mashiach. Ani ma'amin. Mashiach, we want Mashiach now. We want Mashiach. Mashiach now. Hey, we want Mashiach. We want Mashiach now. We want Mashiach. Mashiach now. Ani ma'amin shelema b'yad Mashiach. Ani ma'amin. Ani ma'amin b'emunah shelema b'yad Mashiach. Ani ma'amin. We want Mashiach. We want Mashiach now. We want Mashiach. We want Mashiach now. We want Mashiach. We want Mashiach now. We want Mashiach. Mashiach now. L'chaim, l'chaim. It's a Chag HaGeula. We're celebrating it together here in Beis Menachem Mendel. There's no question that the Bala HaGeula are with us, are present. So we want to make a l'chaim, l'chaim to the Bala HaGeula, the Rebbe, the Friedeker Rebbe. Definitely everyone was here around the time of Gimel Tamuz and Yud Beis Tamuz at the oil. And I'm sure everyone here had more than one request of stuff that we need. Just, like the Siddim of the Mikkel Rebbe said, that the mashke, when we're going to have, when we get to the Kretschmer, Tama Vodka Budget over there. But you need to have 1 or 2 for the road. So for sure, Mashiach will come. But the Vaila, we need to do our Avodas Hashem. So we need to have 1 or 2 brachas for the road. So the Eivishas will give him that all the things that we wrote in our Panim and our Kvitlach and our letters and the Dimbach and the Duchas, that all the brachas should be Nasmala 100%. And all our time and our energy we should be able to devote to our private geula, to our own geula, for our nefesh alakis, to takim as laruf krichen. We should climb onto the truck, and we should be moving in Avodas Hashem, and that we should, from our geula protis, should come to geula klolis and bis Mashiach Tzidkenu.